Well, good evening, everyone. Mike with Woods, Water, and Wisdom here. We made it back from Mexico. Sorry I haven't posted a video in a couple days, but Monday I just kind of took it easy after some services on Sunday, and then yesterday was a travel day, full day of travel. So here I am. Today we're back here in the States, back stateside. At home, so thankful for that. We had such a wonderful trip to Mexico. We're able to, it was everything I hoped for. Able to minister to the people, had some time to relax and spend some time with my family, and just really enjoyed it. Some great time with the pastors there. Was so encouraged by what God is doing there in Tepic, Mexico. My wife and I served there for about almost 4 years, from 2007 to 2011. And that's the first trip we've made back since 2012. So it was good to see everybody, to see what God is doing and the way he's moving. I really think God is calling to his people in this time. In my heart, I just believe that we're in the last of the last days. It's hard to look at what's going on in the world and not think that we're in the last of the last days. Even if it's 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. I'm 50 years old, and man, it sure seems like that's gone by quick. So it was good to see what God was doing, to be able to minister to the people, visit with some old friends and rekindle some friendships there, have some good food, have some good time of fellowship, and just be able to minister to people by the power of the Holy Spirit. Today, kind of on that theme, just because my heart is so full and what God did and is doing, I wanted to share out of 1 Timothy chapter 6. And he says, "Now godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. And having food and clothing, with these we shall be content." And he goes on to talk about, those that desire to be rich. But I was just thinking about those verses. Over the weekend while I was gone, one of my oldest friends, someone I've been friends with since I was 4 years old, passed. He was just 52 years old. Just talked to him on November 6th, which was his birthday. He just did turn 52. And he was such a good guy. When I talked to him last, he was talking about, I'm not going to stress. I'm not going to worry. I'm going to live every day that I have on this earth. And when the good Lord is ready, he'll call me home. And that's what got me thinking about this verse. Godliness with contentment is great gain. How do you put a price on that? How do you put a price on being content, no matter whether abasing or abounding? Whether you have a lot or a little. I was talking with the pastor, and we were talking about just some of the victories that God has done in our lives over the years, and talking about our marriages, and he was talking about how when he and his wife started out just newlyweds, they had a dining room table, a couch, a couple of chairs, and a bed in their apartment, and they were happy. And he talked about how they used to set up the chairs in the living room and play soccer together with the chairs as goals. And then we were talking about, as life goes on and you get a bunch of stuff and cars, houses, bills, children, stuff accumulates, stuff piles up. But is that really what fulfills you? Is that really what makes you happy? Or is it the godliness with contentment that produces the satisfaction in your life? To me, it's the godliness with contentment. I couldn't put a price on the peace that I have in my heart, that comes from knowing the Lord and walking with the Lord. How do you even put a price on that? I lay my head on the pillow at night and I go to sleep. I wake up with the presence of the Lord in my heart, and He walks with me throughout the day. I fellowship with Him all day long. And I feel sorry for the people who don't have a relationship like that with the Lord. I'll admit, there was some times where I've been cold in my relationship, and I kind of turned my back and walked away and did my own thing. Nope. I'd much rather be with the Lord and be content with everything that He's given me. All that He's blessed me with, whether abasing or abounding, whether it's just a dining room table and a couple of chairs and a couch and a bed. I've given away pretty much everything, probably at least 3 times in my life, that I've just pretty much given everything away. The house, all the furniture in it. I could probably have a whole lot more by the world's standard, than what I have right now. I got married first time and that didn't work out. And then when I met my wife and we got engaged and married and moved in together, we combined stuff and we gave a bunch of stuff away. And then just a year and a half after that, we moved to Mexico to the mission field and gave pretty much everything away. Sold it, gave it away, down to very little. And we moved off to Mexico, and 4 years later, we had accumulated some stuff. I gave it all away again. What I came back with was what I could cram into a Toyota RAV4. And we started out again. And then in 2021, we went on the road traveling. So we downsized to what could fit in an RV and gave a whole bunch of stuff away again, sold it, gave it away. It's just stuff. It doesn't amount to a hill of beans, bit of difference. Honestly, it's just stuff. It doesn't fulfill you. It doesn't satisfy you. Sure, it's fun. It probably facilitates some good times if you're out hunting, fishing, have some jet skis to go play on, or have a boat to go play on, nice car to drive, But honestly, a closet full of stuff's going to go out of style. A car's going to wear out. A boat's going to wear out. And then what? I know people who work a lot of hours to have some stuff that they never get to enjoy. I met a guy in Mexico who told me, oh yeah, I lived in Southern California for a long time, and the problem was I worked all the time. Sure, I had a house and a boat and cars and all of this stuff, but all my money went to taxes and insurance, and I never got to enjoy this stuff because I was always working. And he's like, I moved back to Mexico with a little bit of money and started a body shop down here, and I'm much more happy, much more content because I get to enjoy my life. And that's what Paul's talking about. Godliness with contentment. Who can put a price on it? Who can put a price on it? Just being happy with where you are, with who's around you and what you're doing. No anxiety, no worries. Just live your life in Him. Abasing or abounding, it doesn't matter. You're just there with Him, content with your family, your job, who you are. I'm not saying you shouldn't have goals. I'm not saying you shouldn't have plans. I mean, there's things that I desire that are out there that I'm striving for, but I'm content where I am now. Content with my wife, my child. We had a wonderful time visiting, being around people, and just enjoying ourselves. Just being content with where you are, what you have, who you're with, what you're doing. You can't put a price on that. And if you're serving God and He gives you that contentment and peace in your heart, and you know ultimately that you're going to be with Him, it gives life a whole nother meaning. So I would encourage you, just examine your life. Make sure that you're content with where you are. Don't be stressed. Don't let this rat race get to you. It's so interesting when I land in the United States from other countries and I can just feel the hum of all the activity that goes on here. There's so many wonderful good things we have about the United States. But sometimes we get so lost in the rat race. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Don't look up. I'll never forget one time when I was a young man. I was probably 24, 25, and I used to do sleep studies, and I had a patient one night. He was probably about between 50, 55, somewhere around in there, and he's like, I just took my first vacation with my family. I can't believe I missed out on all of those years. And he had kids with grandkids at the time. And he told me the story of how he worked himself to the top of the corporate ladder. And then he and his buddies that were up there figured out that's not really where they wanted to be. And they left one of the top accounting firms in the nation and went and started their own accounting firm just because they realized they got to the top of the heap and that's not where they wanted to be. Re-examine your life. Make sure you're not doing that. Make sure that godliness with contentment is great gain in your life. Stick with God's plan and what He wants you to do. Don't let the devil drive you, even if you're following what God's told you to do. Don't let the devil be your taskmaster. He'll always do one or the other. He'll either beat you over the head because you messed up and didn't do well enough, or if you're succeeding and on God's path, He'll get behind you and try to whip you and drive you to cause you to do even more, to do even greater. You could do so much more for the kingdom. Don't let him do that to you. Be content in what you're doing. Love God, serve God, love your family, serve your family, love your neighbor, serve your neighbor, and just be content. That's what's on my heart this evening. If you got something out of this, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for the grace of giving us a little bit of leeway to not post the last couple of days. I'm sorry if you missed us, but it was some much needed time. Anyway, we'll talk to you soon. God bless.